morning to all of you. I welcome all of you to your favorite EduSat program. Dear students, today we have to discuss or we have to learn about the predicate phase. This is the topic of your English grammar book. This is the last topic. And here you see, while we discuss something and while we want to communicate something, we communicate everything in different kinds of sentences. We use sentences to communicate something. And you know that in a sentence there are different kinds of words and phrases and clauses. And here our topic is predicate phrase. Before going to discuss about predicate phrase, at least we should know what is a phrase, what is a clause, and what is a sentence. You know that before this chapter we have already studied a sentence can be divided broadly in two parts. One is a subject part, the other is a predicate part. In a subject part we find what? In subject part we find noun or noun phrases. And in predicate part we find verb and some other elements, and that is called in verb or verbal phases. So today's topic is what? Predicate phrase. So we have to see which words are used in the predicate phrase or predicate part of the sentences. Let us see what is a phrase in grammar. And then we shall discuss what is a phrase in grammar. A group of words without a finite verb is called a phrase. But here you remember one thing, a group of words without a finite verb is called a phrase. It is this definition is appropriate for subject part, not for the predicate part. Why? Because in the predicate part you can find the finite verb. So I think perhaps you know what is finite verb and what is non-finite verb. In a sentence we use verb. The verb which tells us about the tense of the sentence, that verb is called finite verb. Suppose take the example, Raju is going to Cuttack. Which one in this sentence is the verb? Is going to Cuttack is the verb. But in this verbal group you can find there are two words. One is, the other is going. But from each we can know the tense of the sentence is present tense. But from going we cannot know what is the tense of the sentence. Going can be used both in present tense and also in past tense. How? Suppose you see Rama is going to Cuttack. It is in present tense because we used is, and from is we know that is in present tense. But at the place of is, if we use was, what will be the sentence? The sentence will be Raju was going to Cuttack. That sentence is in past tense. Why going is not changed? What was changed in the sentence? Is changed to was. So it is not, this definition is not, it cannot be used in predicate part of the sentence for predicate phrase. This rule is not appropriate. They are used to form a part of a sentence. So next part is what is a predicate phrase. We know that the finite verb, in the predicate part verb plays most important role. Without verb we cannot make a sentence, we cannot make a predicate part. So verb is indispensable for the sentence or to form a sentence or for the predicate part. So what is a predicate phrase? The finite verb and the other words which are used in the predicate part of a sentence is called a predicate phrase. You remember this very important one? The finite verb. It means the verb which it tells the tense of the sentence, that verb is called finite verb. And the other words, what are the other words? We must discuss later. Here you see which other words are used in the predicate phase or in the predicate part of the sentence. Verb, object, complement and adjunct are the elements which are used in the predicate phase. You remember one thing, 4 types of words or 4 types of parts of speech, they are verb, object, complement and adjunct. These are used in the predicate phase. So next you see, before going to discuss about the predicate phase, we should know the verb can be divided into 2 parts. One is a intransitive verb, the other is a transitive verb. Which verbs are called intransitive verbs? Here you see there are 5 examples on the screen. The first one is fishes swim. We can divide this sentence into 2 parts. What? The first one is fishes. This is only one word, but this is a noun, or we can say this is also a noun phrase. Similarly, in a predicate part, there is only one word, that is swim. There is no other word. Swim is the verb and this is in predicate part. Similarly, come to the second example, birds fly. Here birds is the subject and fly is the verb. If we divide this sentence into 2 parts, in subject part the noun phrase is birds, in predicate part fly is the verb. And next you see, please come to the third example, the sun shines. We can divide this sentence into 2 parts. One is the sun, that is subject part. The other is the shines, that is in a predicate part. But this one, shines, is a verb, because I have already told you, without a verb is indispensable part. So without verb we cannot make the predicate part or we cannot make the sentence. So shines is the verb. Please come to the example number 4. Here you see dogs bark. Dogs is the subject, bark is the verb, but bark is in the predicate part. And dogs is in subject part, but it is a noun. Similarly, come to the last example 5. Men die. Which one is the subject? Men. And which is in the predicate part? Die. So men is the subject, but it is the plural form of a man. It is a noun. So we can say that is a noun phrase. And a die is a verb, though it is in predicate part. It is the indispensable word for the predicate part. So what we learn from these 5 examples? In sentence 1 to 5, the words swim, fly, shines, bark, die comprise the predicate. They do not take any other items as part of their basic meaning. Moreover, the actions stop with the subjects and do not pass on to some other items. These verbs are called intransitive verbs. So they do not take any object. You remember one thing, without object, the verbs are known as intransitive verbs. If the verb follows an object, we can say those verbs are transitive verbs. Without object, they are intransitive verbs. Here you see, in all these 5 examples, there are only verbs, no other words. I have already told you that in predicate part we use verbs, complement, object and adjunct. But here in these 5 sentences, we have only verbs, no object, no complement, no adjunct. So, all these 5 verbs are called intransitive verbs. Then you see what is a transitive verb. Here there are 2 examples for you. She likes her mother and Santi likes ice cream. You ask what? You ask what questions to the verb likes. What answer you will get, that will be the object. Suppose she likes. What she like? What does she like? Her mother. That is the object. Similarly, Santi likes ice cream. What does Santi like? Santi likes ice cream. You remember one thing, when we ask what question to the verb, to the finite verb, what answer we get? If that answer is a noun or a pronoun, that must be an object. Here you see, when we asked what does Santi like, we get the answer her mother. Here mother is a noun, and we get the answer by asking what questions to the word likes, so that mother is an object. Similarly, in example number 7, Santi likes ice cream. If we ask what does Santi like, we get the answer ice cream. Ice cream is also a noun phrase. So, this is an object. So, what did we learn from these 2 examples? In sentence 6 and 7, the predicate consists of 2 words. The words likes is the verb. It takes her mother and ice cream after it. Without this noun phrase, the sentence will be incomplete. The noun phrase, her mother and ice cream, are objects. The verbs like is called transitive verb. Why? Because I have already told you, if there are objects in the sentences of the verbs, those verbs are called transitive verbs. Okay? So now you see, the next question is, I have already told you that in predicate part, we have verbs, objects, complements and adjuncts. Now just we discussed, there are 2 types of verbs, and one type of verbs are called intransitive verbs. The other types of verbs are called transitive verbs. Which verbs are called transitive verbs? The verbs which have objects. So let us go and discuss what is an object. A noun phrase or a pronoun following a transitive verb is known as an object. What we discussed just now, a noun phrase or a pronoun following a transitive verb is known as an object. She likes her mother. In that sentence we discussed, her mother is a noun phrase and it is used after the verb likes. So this is an object. Similarly, we discussed Santi likes ice cream. What does Santi like? Santi likes ice cream. So ice cream is a noun phrase and it is an object, as it is the answer of the what question of the verb. So a noun phrase or a pronoun following a transitive verb is known as an object. Remember that an intransitive verb does not take an object, and a transitive verb has a noun phase, pronoun or a noun clause as its object. Which words? Which words are used as object? First one is a noun or a noun phrase, pronoun or a noun clause. What is a clause? A part of a sentence which has a finite verb, that is called a noun clause. And if it is used at the predicate part of the sentence, and if it gives the answer of the what question of the verb, then that noun clause can also be object. And an object is a noun phrase, a pronoun or a noun clause which refers to a person or thing affected by the action of a verb or which depends upon a preposition. So we discussed what? We discussed about object. Please you again see part 3. What is described in part 3? An object is a noun phrase, a pronoun, a noun clause which refers to a person. That noun clause refers to a person or thing affected by the action of a verb or which depends upon a preposition. Okay? Now what you have to remember? So you have to remember an intransitive verb. Next slide. An intransitive verb does not take an object. What we have already discussed. And you know, transitive verbs are of two types. So what are they? One is monotransitive, the other is a ditransitive. Which verbs are called monotransitive? Verbs taking one object are called monotransitive. One object. If the verb or if in that sentence there is only one object, we can say that verb is a monotransitive verb. Please you look at the example. Student read books. Student read books. Students is the subject. Read books is in the predicate part. Read is the finite verb. And if we ask what question to read, what answer we will get? What do students read? Books. So books is a noun. It is a noun and this is the answer of what question read. So that books is an object. But there is only one object in that sentence. So this is a monotransitive. Next you see what is ditransitive. Because transitive verbs are of two types. One is monotransitive and the other is ditransitive. What is ditransitive? Verbs that take two objects are called ditransitive. How does a verb take two objects? You look at the example. My mother gave the beggar a shirt. Here you see please, you ask what questions to the verb gave. What did my mother give? A shirt. What answer you will get by asking what question to the verb? To the verb, that answer is called or is known as direct object. My mother gave. What did my mother give? A shirt. This is direct object. But the next one, the beggar, is indirect object. In this sentence, there are two objects. So that we can say this verb. Which one is the verb? Gave is the verb. So the word gave has two objects. So that this verb is called ditransitive. Gave is the verb, that is ditransitive. It takes two objects, a shirt a direct object, the beggar indirect object. Okay. Next you see, we discussed about verb. Verb is of two types. One is a transitive, the other is a intransitive. Transitive verbs are of two types. One is a ditransitive, the other is a monotransitive. Then we discussed what? We discussed about object. A object in a sentence, we can use one object or more than one object, that is two objects. When it is only one object, that verb is called monotransitive. When there are two objects, that is called ditransitive. So next you see what is a complement, because I have told you that in the predicate part, besides the verb, besides the object, complement and adjuncts are also used. So here, what is a complement? Please you look at all these examples. My mother is a cook. My mother is a cook. And similarly, my mother is a teacher. My mother is a doctor. My mother is a clerk. My mother is an engineer. My mother is a sarpanch. In this manner, my mother is a professor. In this manner, you can make lots of sentences. But besides a cook, besides a teacher, besides a doctor, a clerk, an engineer, a sarpanch, we cannot get the complete sentence. If I say my mother is, can you give a full stop at the end of a is? No. Why? Because my mother is not a complete sentence. We have to use all these noun phrases. My mother is a cook. My mother is a leader. My mother is a doctor. My mother is a clerk, an engineer or sarpanch. In similar manner, you can use different kinds of noun phrases. So, the verb is in the form of a be verb. Here, after my mother, is should be used. I have not written there is. You can use is. And here there are 6 noun phrases after the verb is. The verb is in the form of a be verb. Such verbs usually take some other items to complete their meaning. My mother is an incomplete sentence. We cannot put a full stop after it. So, we have to use all these noun phrases to complete these sentences, so that a cook, a teacher, doctor, clerk, engineer, sarpanch, these are called complements. Besides be verbs, complements are also used. Complements are also used after become verb, after seem verb, after appear, after grow, after look, after taste, smell and feel. These are the verbs. After these verbs, the words or the noun phrases are used. Those noun phrases are known as complements. Let us see how many types of complements are there in English grammar and what are they. How many types of complements are there? Please you see, we have 3 types of complements. What are they? Subject complement, object complement and adverbial complement. How can we know which are called subject complement, which are called object complement and which are called adverbial complement? So what is a subject complement? Here you see please, a noun phrase or an adjective phrase when gives more information about the subject and functions as a complement, that noun phrase or adjective phrase is called subject complement. It functions as an attribute of the subject. Please you come to the example, then it will be easy for you to understand what is a subject complement. Amar is an honest boy. If I say Amar is, that is not a complete sentence, that is an incomplete sentence. We cannot put a full stop after is. but we have to use something after the verb is. So an honest boy. We used a noun that is a boy. Omar is a boy. What type of a boy is? He is an honest boy. So when boy is there, this is a noun phrase. This is a noun phrase, and this in this noun phrase we have another one adjective that is honest. So we can say this is also an adjective phrase, and it gives some more information about Amar, about the subject. So this an honest boy is a compliment. Without an honest boy, this sentence we cannot say this is a complete sentence. So what we learn? We learn that a noun phrase can be used as a subject complement. It functions as an attribute of the subject. Okay. Next you see what is an object complement, because I have already informed you there are three types of complements, and one is a subject complement, the other is a object complement. It adds, object complement adds more information about the object. It functions as a attribute of the object. That means it qualifies the object. It cannot be used as the subject of a passive sentence. You remember this. We cannot use this word, this object complement, as the subject of a passive sentence. Take the example, we elected him monitor. We elected him monitor. It means we elected him is not a complete sentence. We elected him. What did we elect him? Whether we elected him monitor, MLA, MP, Sarpanch, chairman, what did we elect? If monitor is not used, that sentence will not be a complete sentence. So here the word elected, after elected, him is used, and him is a pronoun, and that is used as an object, but monitor is a complement. We elected him monitor, and here him is an object. It needs another word. After him we need another word to complete the sentence. The word monitor completes the sentence, and hence this is called complement. It is the complement of the object. It is the complement of the object him. So monitor is an object complement. This is complement, no doubt. Though it completes the object him, we can say this is what? Object complement. Then you see what is an adverbial complement. The adverbs and prepositional phrases are necessary to complete the meaning of the verbs, and these cannot be dropped from the sentences. They are called adverbial complements. Though adverbs and you know what is adverb? The word which speaks something about the verb, those words are called adverbs. And the prepositional phrases, adverbial prepositional phrases are necessary to complete the meaning of the verbs. These cannot be dropped from the sentences. They are called adverbial complements. Here you see, if I say Ganesha lives, this is not a complete sentence. Why? Ganesha lives where, what? If you ask Ganesha lives, this is an incomplete sentence. But here is an adverb. It speaks Ganesha lives here. So similarly, Kamala keeps her toys in a box. Kamala keeps her toys. This is not a complete sentence. So if we use in a box, this is an adverb, And this adverb phrase tells her toys. Kamala keeps. What Kamala keeps? Her toys. This is object. And in a box is essential to complete this sentence. So here and in a box are called adverbial complement. Okay. So now, dear students, we discussed what? We discussed in a predicate phase we use verbs, we use object, and we also use what? Complement. Complements are of three types: subject complement, object complement, and adverbial complement. Then you see what is an adjunct. That means adjunct is also used in the predicate part. Complement is an essential part of a sentence. Without complement, the sentence we cannot say this is a complete sentence. But adjunct is completely different from complement. Adjunct, you may use adjunct in a sentence or you may not use. Without adjunct, we can understand or we can get a complete sentence. Complement is an essential part of a sentence for completing the meaning of a sentence. But some other items which are used to expand the sentence and that are not very essential part of a sentence, that is called adjunct. You may use it or you may not use it. It is not an essential part. It is not an essential part of the sentence. That is called adjunct. Please look, there are two examples for you. Mr. Singh is a doctor. This sentence is a complete sentence. Mr. Singh is a doctor. But if I add the word now with Mr. Singh, what meaning we can get from this sentence? Mr. Singh is a doctor now. That means now he is working as a doctor somewhere in a hospital. So now gives some extra information about Mr. Singh. But if you omit now, if you delete now, we can get a complete sentence. That is, Mr. Singh is a doctor. Similarly, he always tells the truth. Here you see, he always tells the truth. Can we say, not please you underline this under always, not at the truth. Please you delete the underline just after the truth. Please you take the underline to the always. Here there is a small mistake. The underline should be under the always. He always tells the truth. He tells the truth. It is easily understood. This is a complete sentence. But always gives some extra information. So always is an adjunct. If we omit always, we can get a complete sentence. He tells the truth. This is a complete sentence. Always, if we omit always, we get the complete sentence. So the word always gives some extra information about that person. So always is an adjunct. Dear students, we discussed which words are used in the predicate part of the sentence. Now the verbs, objects, complements and adjuncts, 4 types of words are used in the predicate phase or in the predicate part of a sentence. So how many pattern is the predicate phase and what are they? Here you see how many pattern is the predicate phase and what are they? The predicate phase pattern is of 2 types. Why? Just we discussed our verbs are of 2 types. One is intransitive, the other is transitive. So we have intransitive pattern and the other is a transitive pattern. So predicate phase pattern is being divided into 2 parts. One is intransitive pattern, the other is a transitive pattern. Why? Because in a transitive pattern you can find object, but in intransitive pattern you cannot find object. So that we have two pattern. Next you see please, predicate phase pattern. Please you look at the screen and see intransitive pattern, that is one is a verbal group plus adjunct, and other is verbal group plus complement. Here you see please, there is no object in intransitive pattern, adjunct is there, complement is there. But please you come to transitive pattern, here you see we have a verbal group and also adjunct here, and also verbal group plus object, O for object, and also adjunct. And the second one is verbal group, O for indirect object, and O for direct object, and adjunct. And the last one is, the last pattern is verbal group, object, complement, C for complement, and adjunct. So transitive patterns are of three types. So, and when intransitive patterns are of two types. Let us see the different, taking different examples. If we discuss all these things, it will be good for you to understand. Here you see, the man died yesterday. This is a sentence. The man died yesterday. The man is the subject, died is the verb. This is a verb or verbal group or verbal phrase we can say. And yesterday, if I say the man died, this is a complete sentence. Yesterday gives some extra information about the death of the man. That is, yesterday is an adjunct. So died is the verbal group or verb phrase. Yesterday is an adjunct. Next you see, come to the second example. Sachin was the captain. Sachin is the subject. Was is the verb. The captain is a complement. Why? If I say Sachin was, this is not a complete sentence. So if we use Sachin was the captain, it is understood this is a complete sentence. There you can use a full stop. But a few years ago gives some extra information about Sachin. Sachin was a captain a few years ago. That is adjunct. Okay. And if we omit a few years ago, we can get a complete sentence. So please come to the, so these two examples, first and the second examples are belong to intransitive verb, because it is, these two sentences have no objects. But please come to the third one. I am writing the lesson now. I am writing the lesson now. I is the subject. I am writing is the verb. The lesson is the object. If you ask what question, what are you writing? I am writing the lesson. Lesson is the object. And a noun gives some extra information. So that is adjunct. If you omit now, we can get a complete sentence. So this is the transitive predicate phase pattern. And the next one is, please you see, he is teaching me grammar now. He is the subject. He is teaching is the verb. And me is the indirect object. Grammar is a direct object. Now is a adjunct. And I think perhaps you have understood what is direct object and what is indirect object. You ask, he is teaching. What is he teaching? Grammar. So this is direct object. Me is indirect object. If you omit now, if you delete now, you can get the complete meaning of the sentence that he is teaching me grammar. So now gives some extra information and it is not an essential part of the sentence. So this is called adjunct. The last example is, what is the last example? The driver kept the car in the garage yesterday. The driver is the subject in the subject part. And the next, all other words are in predicate part. Kept is the verb and it is a transitive verb. Why do you think this is a transitive verb? You ask what to kept. What did the driver keep? The car. The car is the direct object or only one object in the sentence. This is a verbal group. Kept is the verbal group. The car is the object and the driver kept the car where? In the garage. This is the complement. And yesterday gives some extra information. So this is an adjunct. So now we discussed all these things. Then you see please another pattern that is called subject plus verb pattern. There is no object, there is no complement, there is no adjunct. Wind blew, fire burns, babies cry. This is one pattern. That is called a subject plus a verb pattern. Next you see another pattern that is called subject verb plus a complement pattern. Subject verb plus a complement pattern. My brother was a teacher. A teacher is a complement. This is a noun phrase. She is intelligent. Intelligent is a complement. This is an adjective phrase. Ravi and Madhu are on the way. On the way is a complement. This is a prepositional phrase. Usharani is here. Here is an adverb phrase. So be verbs was, is, are, is, am. These are all extracted from the base verb be verb. So be verbs is, am, are, was, were take a complements. Other verbs like be verbs become, seem, appear, grow, look, taste, smell, feel also take a complements. Okay. Next you see what is the next pattern that is called a subject plus a verb plus a complement pattern. He looks tired. Here he the subject, looks is the verb, tired is the complement. Shilu appears silly. Shilu appears silly. Appears is the verb, silly is the complement. The man seems restless. The man is the subject, seems is the verb, restless is the complement. Rama became an officer, same pattern. The mango tastes sweet, same pattern. It smells nice, same pattern. I feel cold. This is also same pattern. This pattern is called subject verb plus complement pattern. Now you see another pattern that is called a subject plus a verb plus a object pattern. The main verb that takes an object after it is called a transitive verb. What we have discussed. The boy broke the toy. Broke is a transitive verb. Why? Because the toy is the object. He caught a big fish. Caught is a transitive verb. Why? Because a big fish is object. What did he catch? A big fish. Swati writes poems. What does Swati rhyme? Poems. Kamalini is knitting a sweater. What is Kamalini knitting? A sweater. All these objects, toy, big fish, poems, a sweater, gives the answer. These are the answer of verbs. So these verbs are called transitive verbs because they have objects. And here, my dear students, you see, here is a here one activity in your textbook. Underline the main verbs and say whether it is a transitive verb or intransitive verb. Underline the main verbs and say whether it is transitive or intransitive. Activity 1. please open your book and look at the blackboard or whiteboard. Okay. Question number 1 is John is playing outside. John is playing outside. This is a sentence. What is the direction? Underline the main verb. Is playing is the verb. John is playing. And whether it is transitive or intransitive, you ask John is playing. You ask what question? If we ask what is playing, the answer will not be outside. What is John playing? The answer will be John is playing cricket, badminton, hockey or football or ring ball, etc. So outside is not the answer of our what question. So this is not an object. So we can say is playing is an intransitive verb. Intransitive verb. Similarly, you see, next question is children like sweets very much. Children like sweets very much. This is a question. Children is the subject, like is the verb. You ask what questions to like. What do children like? They like sweets. They like sweets. So this is object, because I have told you that when we ask a WH question to the verb, if we get the answer, and if that answer is a noun, a pronoun, that will be the object of the sentence. So here sweets is the object of the sentence. Okay. So when the verb has an object, we can say this is a transitive verb. Okay. This is transitive. Next question is, please you look at your book. He has changed a lot. He has changed a lot. He has changed a lot. If you ask question, he has changed. What has he changed? What has he changed? A lot will not be the answer. And a lot is not also a noun or a pronoun. So, has changed, we can say this is intransitive verb. This is intransitive verb. In a similar manner, please you look at your book. Barsha offered me a nice gift. Barsha offered me a nice gift. You ask what question to offer? What did Barsha offer? Barsha offered a nice gift. So a nice gift is the answer of a what question? And a nice gift is a noun phrase. So that offered is a transitive verb. Please come to the next question or last question of activity 1. Little men desire high posts. You ask what questions to the verb desire. What do little men desire? Little men desire high posts. This is a noun phrase. It gives the answer of a verb desire. So that desire is a transitive verb or this is a transitive pattern. Okay, now please you come to another pattern. This is called subject plus a verb plus a indirect object plus a direct object pattern. Kindly show the slide please. Subject pattern and a subject, verb, object, indirect object and a direct object. Tapaswini gave him a book. If Sita offered me a gift, you ask, Tapaswini gave. What did Tapaswini give? A book. To whom? Him. And if Sita offered me a gift, what did Sita give? What did Sita offer? A gift. Gift is a noun phrase. It is direct object. Me is a indirect object. He passed. What did he pass? The salt. And a indirect object is a me. My brother wrote me a letter. What did my brother write? What did my brother write? A letter. A letter. So a letter is object or direct object, and that is called here you see me is a indirect object. Okay, now you see please, we discuss something about different patterns, and we have to discuss about activity 2 and activity 3 and activity 4. How the object are interchanged. That is very important one. How the here you see I gave him a book. I gave a book to him. To, by using to, I gave him a book. A book is direct object. Him is indirect object. What we have to do? We have to interchange the him and the book. We have to bring a book to the place of a him and him to the place of a book. I gave a book to him. By using to, we can interchange direct object and indirect object. In a similar manner, I bought her a frock. I brought her a frock. Here you see, I bought a frock for her. So frock was the direct object in past sentence. Her was the indirect object. But we interchange it by taking her to the place of a direct object and taking frock to the place of an indirect object. So by using to and for, you can interchange all these things. Okay. Thank you to all of you. Thank you.